what we are going to do, we are combining two applications like say registration and login. Already we have done the registration.html and login.html also. So we have two applications like say details application, in which what you are doing, we are registering, you are getting registered in the particular database, right? Next, what you can say, after registration we have to login. So in login application we have a login.html where you use a username and password to login, right? So you want to combine these two applications. So to transfer the control from one servlet to another servlet, we are using a interface known as request dispatcher. In this request dispatcher, we have two methods, forward and include. To call these methods, we require the object. For that, we have a method known as get request dispatcher in servlet request, where the return type is what? Request dispatcher. So we can call this particular thing by using the request object request dot get request dispatcher, and the string can be either a .jsp file, URL of the next servlet, or the .html file. Then we are having two methods, include and forward. So what is the difference between include and forward? Suppose first, when you open a particular application, you get the login page, right? So after the login page, we have to transfer the control to registration page. For that, we are using a anchor tag. Okay. So after the anchor tag, when you come to the registration page, when you give the values, these values are transferred to the web server, and from the web server, the values are transferred to the registration servlet. So after the connection to the details, then means connecting to the database, registering is done successfully. We have to include this particular HTML login page. Include that particular login page in our registration servlet. For that, we are calling the method known as include method, where the content is included into the particular program. Okay. Next, after that login.html, say I'm having the username and password, right? So from here, if I log in, then what will happen? It will go to this particular login servlet. In this, after checking the username and password from the database, the control must be transferred to a welcome.html. Means we are transferring the control, so we can use the forward method. So that's the difference between include and forward. Include means it will include the content into our particular program, and forward means it will transfer the control from our servlet to the next HTML or JSP or another servlet. Okay. So these are things. Now already we have applications known as web details application and login application, right? So we'll make a new thing known as, what you can say, home application. We just combine those two things. Okay. So first, what we require the files, right? So index.html we have, just I'm copying it, fine. Next, we have login.html, just copy the two things, clear. But I want to rename these files. Here you can say it as index.html, or else first we will rename it to register.html. Next, here the login can be renamed as index.html, right? Next, what you can say, in the index.html we have to do some modifications. So if you want to get it line by line, one after the other, we are using a tag known as break. Okay. Next, what is that you can say, I want to add a link. So for that, you can have say a href anchor tag equals to, what you can say, register.html. Why we are adding this? to transfer the control. So what you can say, register here, close that particular anchor tag, save this file. When I open this file, okay, but I'm not getting any link here, right? H reference, we have to add the H reference tag, and yeah, so you're getting the link, right? So when I click it, register.html is not found. Why? What I have written here? Register.html. When you click the register.html, you will get the registration page, right? So in this way, we are just redirecting that particular pages. Now, what you can say, we require the web-inf, right? So I'll create a web-inf. In that we require the classes, okay, and one more thing known as lib, right? So all the things already we have done, just copy them. So for the registration, we have a particular registration class, right? So here already we have the class. Just what I'm doing, copying it in the classes folder, right? And after registration we have to log in, right? So for login we have to modify something. What is that? We have to get the details from the database. Yes or no? We have to connect to the database, and from the database we have to get the details. So already we have one more thing known as details application, where we are connecting to the database, right? So we are connecting to the database by using the init method, right? So the connection details till here it's same, right, for everything. So now what I am doing, just in the login servlet I am using this connection, say instead of this directly connection, right? And instead of the servlet config, what I will use, not implements, it will be like extends generic servlet, generic servlet, right? So what is the java x.servlet dot star? Now after this I have just got the particular request, username and password, username and password, right? So the password username is nothing but I want to compare with the particular registration, say DSC of registration, right? So what is that you can say, we'll say the name is a username and age is the password, okay? So or else we'll add one more column, password column, in this home application registration. We'll have the table tag, right? What is the table tag used? Nothing but here, right? tr, there is a thing for that part. Next what I'm using, instead of that, password, what you can say, password, password, right? So if I'm changing this, means again details.html also must be changed, like say here you have to retrieve one more thing known as username and password, okay, password, and don't copy those things directly here, just don't type, copy it here, password, right? So we had to add a column, alter table registration 1, yes, add alter table registration 1, add password varchar2 of 20, right? So DSC of registration 1, right? So password is the last column, right? So what you have to do, while sending you have to send the password is the last thing. That's it, right? String of 8 comma password. 8 comma password. Save this thing. Yeah. Another placeholder must be placed here, right? Save this thing. Now you have to compile it. How to compile? Just copy this thing, delete that part, cd space details servlet dot java. Okay, you got the dot class file, right? Yes or no? Next, what you can say, in index.html we have username and password, right? So I want to change it, make the changes in the login servlet, right? In the login servlet, what you are doing, generic servlet, right? So after that, instead of directly writing this, we required what you can say, we require the database connection. So what is the database connection? You can say ps equals to con dot prepare statement. What is it? Select. We required what? Username and password, right? So what you can say, that name, right? Name comma password from registration 1, where name equals to what you can say, placeholder, and password equals to placeholder, right? So what you are doing here, writing the query, we have to send the values. Stretching here, how many placeholders are there? 2. How many values must be sent? 2. What is the index? 1 and 2, right? It's irrespective of the column. It's irrespective of the column what you are sending, right? So what you can say, ps dot set string of 1 comma, what is it, username, right? Next, ps dot set string of 2 comma password, 2 comma password. Next, ps dot execute query, then what is the return type? You can say result set. So just for that future reference, what you are doing, just we are declaring it as global variable, or you can say instance variable, result set rs equals to null, right? So that we can use throughout the program, right? Now what is that? You can say rs equals to execute query, right? Now if you want, you can write the query like, say, if rs dot next, means if it is true, means the record is there, right? Yes or no? If rs dot next is there, then you can say welcome user username to home page, or else we have to send a transfer, right? In details servlet, we forgot to write one more thing, like, say, after login registration done successfully, what I want to add, I want to add the login page, right? Yes or no? How to add the login page? By using the request dispatcher include, right? So how you are writing the request dispatcher include is nothing but request dot get request dispatcher of, what is it, login dot html, not login dot html, it's index dot html, right? Index dot html, close that, dot include. If you want to write the include method to include the content along with the particular message, if you want to display both the message, here the message will be displayed, after that page will be included. For that you have to write in this format, request dot get request dispatcher file name dot include request comma response, right? Yes or no? So that's the first thing. Next, what you can say, in this particular login, I have to send this part to one more page, right? Welcome.html. So I'll write one more file known as welcome.html. What is it? Welcome.html. Just I'll write html. Okay, html and body, and what you can say, yeah, bg color equals to, yeah, v. Okay, double quotes also you can give, nothing will happen, right? Center h1, what you can say, welcome to home page, right? We haven't designed it, but just we are forwarding it, right? So this is what welcome dot html, right? So this thing I am showing it in directly in the home application, right? So now what is it in that logins already you have to do? You have to write, say, request dispatcher. For the login directly you can write request dispatcher rd equals to request, okay, request dot get request dispatcher of, what you can say, directly I want to forward this to welcome dot html, right? Then rd dot forward, right? Request comma response, and the same thing what you are doing here, and declaring this above these particular things, right? So rd equals to null, so that we can use it in other blocks also. Like say if I am wanting to say invalid password, try again, means again you have to send this through welcome.html, right? So what you can say, include we have to use index.html, right? Copy it and paste it in login.html, try again here. So what will happen when the username is true, it will go to welcome.html. If it is false, it will display message invalid password, try again, and it will give the index.html. It will include the content because I want the message. Along with the message, if you want to have this particular file, then you have to use the include. But if I want to transfer the control, you can use the forward. You can use the forward, right? Save this particular part as dot java, right? Dot java. Understood? Now how to compile those things is nothing but java c space login servlet dot java. What is it saying? I forgot to remove this particular get servlet info, right? ఒకటి flower bracket is required, right? అంతేనా? Yeah, we haven't closed that particular try, right? So what is that else part is there, try is closed, then you can say catch, and you can say e dot trace, right? Close that particular part, then it will be like, and we haven't imported java dot sql dot start, right? We got the dot class file, yes or no? So in web.msm we got these things. Now we have to place the ogdbc 14.jar file, right? So home application, what I'm placing OJDBC 14.jar file. And one more thing, yes, web.xml file also must be placed. So in home.html we are placing the web.xml. In this we have to edit, right? What do you have to edit? We have to add one more tag known as login, right? For login application already we have written it, right? We have written the server tag, right? And the URL mapping, just copy it and place it in the just in the web app in place of first, after that second. So how many servlets you are having, that many servlet and servlet mapping tags must be there. Suppose you are having 4 servlets, 4 servlet and servlet mapping tags must be there. Okay, save this part, check this particular thing with the browser, open with the browser whether it's working fine or not. Then it's working fine, right? But it's coming only, what is it? Yeah, because I have opened in login.html. In home.html you have to open it, right? Open with Internet Explorer, you got this particular thing, right? Details and login. Fine. So now what you have to do? Just check these things in the index register welcome.html. We have index. Okay, fine. Login, instead of login, index registration and welcome.html. Registration servlet and login servlet. OJDBC 14.jar file, right? Close that particular server. Run it again. Home application, right? So now localhost, we require the home application. First I want to register. Okay, so register means age I am giving, sorry, password it has to be given, right? Age also we have taken as password, that's why it's coming like that. Next, something else. Okay, registration done successfully, but we haven't compiled the details.html, right? That's why we didn't got that particular part. So again we have to compile java c space details dot java. So again I have to close the server. So I will delete the details from registration 1. Okay, I'm just running the server once again. So is it home application dot registration, from registration what you can say, what you can say, age must be 24. So when I say get details, registration done successfully, but you are not getting the register again. So you can say Rohit, password, age, you got that particular exception knowing. What's the exception you can say? Not enough values. Why you got not enough values? Not enough values అంటే వాల్యూస్ తక్కువనే అంటుంది. యాక్చువల్లీ ఇది యాడ్ చేయాలి అనుకుంటాను పాస్వర్డ్ది, ఈ కోడ్ దాంట్లో యాడ్ లేనట్టుంది. అందుకే ఒక్క నిమిషం అన్ని కోడ్ క్యాన్సిల్ చేసేసి home.xml కదా డీటెయిల్స్, దాంట్లో ఏంటంటే నేను అదే చెప్తున్నాను కదా, ఇది జస్ట్ అది ఇది మొత్తం కంబైన్ చేసేసాం మనం, కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయిపోయింది. యాక్చువల్లీ ఇందాక యాడ్ చేసింది ఆ ఫైల్లో, ఈ ఫైల్లో కాదు. అంతే, జస్ట్ రెండు అప్లికేషన్స్ ఇలా యాడ్ చేస్తుంటే ఇలా పాస్వర్డ్, రైట్. అండ్ హియర్ వాట్ యూ కెన్ సే, ఒక ప్లేస్ ముందర మళ్ళీ పెట్టి దాని తర్వాత ps డాట్ 8 comma password, right. So now again compile, close that server, run the server again, right. So what will happen here, now once again go for the home page, register, registration done successfully. Then you can say username, password, right. Suppose if I give that username, what is it, already I have given invalid password, try again, right. If I give the username and password correctly, then you'll get the registration, right. Say select star from username is what you have taken the username as. Okay, so again I have to change the code, I think. In the tag, what you have taken, we are taking the username as what, username, right. And what you are doing here, you are passing the username and password, right. So the registration one, where name equals to that username and password equals to the particular password. Say if we'll try again, saying again